The leaders of India, the United States, Japan, and Australia, collectively called Quad, took a vow on Saturday to assist each other in ensuring security and resilience of regional cyber infrastructure. The leaders of four countries issued a joint statement on the matter after holding a meeting on the sidelines of UN General Assembly session in New York. The statement was issued by External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and his counterparts Penny Wong of Australia, Hayashi Yoshimasa of Japan, and US Secretary of State Tony Blinken called on states to take reasonable steps to address ransom operations emanating from within their territory. The Quad, or Quadrilateral Security Dialogue comprising India, the US, Japan, and Australia, was set up in 2017 to counter China's aggressive behavior in the Indo Pacific region. The statement said that the leaders believe that the focused initiatives to enhance the cyber capabilities of Indo Pacific countries would ensure the security and resilience of regional cyber infrastructure. The transnational nature of ransomware can adversely affect our national security, finance sector, and business enterprise, critical infrastructure, and protection of personal data. We appreciate the progress made by the 36 countries supporting US led counter ransom initiative and the regular, practical oriented consultations against cybercrime in the Indo Pacific region, they said. The ministers highlighted the practical cooperation in countering ransomware among Indo Pacific partners that would result in denying safe haven to ransomware actors in the region. Recalling the last Quad foreign ministers meeting on February 11 this year, the ministers said they are committed to addressing the global threat of ransomware, which has been an obstacle to Indo Pacific economic development and security. Canada will impose sanctions on those responsible for the death of 22-year-old Kurdish woman Mahsa Amini, including Iran's so-called morality police and its leadership, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said on Monday. We have seen Iran disregarding human rights time and time again. Now we see it with death of Mahsa Amini and the crackdown on protests, Trudeau told reporters in Ottawa. Today I am announcing that we will implement sanctions on dozens of individuals and entities, including Iran's so-called morality police, Trudeau said, moments after similar remarks by his foreign minister Melanie Joly during her address to the United Nations General Assembly in New York. The United States warned on Sunday of catastrophic consequences if Moscow uses nuclear weapons in Ukraine after Russia's foreign minister said regions holding widely criticized referendums would get full protection if annexed by Moscow. Votes were staged for third day in four eastern Ukrainian regions aimed at annexing territory Russia has taken by force. Russian parliament would move to formalize annexation within days. By incorporating the areas of Luhansk, Donetsk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia into Russia, Moscow would portray efforts to retake them as attack on Russia itself, a warning to Kiev and its Western allies. US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said the US would respond to any Russian use of nuclear weapons against Ukraine and had spelled out to Moscow the catastrophic consequences it would face. If Russia crosses this line, there will be catastrophic consequences for Russia, Sullivan told Meet the Press television program. The United States will respond decisively. The latest US warning followed a thinly veiled nuclear threat made on Wednesday by President Vladimir Putin, who said Russia would use any weapons to defend its territory. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov made the point more directly at a news conference on Saturday after a speech to the UN General Assembly in New York, in which he repeated Moscow's false claims to justify the invasion that the elected government in Kiev was illegitimately installed and filled with neo Nazis. Asked if Russia would have grounds for using nuclear weapons to defend annexed regions, Lavrov said Russian territory, including territory further enshrined in Russia's constitution in the future, was under the full protection of the state. Saudi Arabia's King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud on Tuesday issued a royal decree to appoint Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman as the Prime Minister. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, or MPS, who a US intelligence report said approved a journalist's murder, has for several years shaken up the conservative oil superpower with economic, social, and religious reforms since his meteoric rise to power. MBS has overseen the most fundamental transformation in the modern history of the Gulf nation and sidelined all rivals after he became crown prince in June 2017. But he has also presided over a crackdown on critics, including prominent clerics, activists, and royal elites, as well as faced a storm of condemnation over the murder of Saudi journalist inside the kingdom's Istanbul consulate in October 2018. MBS has pledged to forge a modern Saudi Arabia, and it remains to be seen how, as Prime Minister, MBS brings international investors on board with his grandiose vision to overhaul the kingdom's oil reliant economy. With an estimated 12 billion workdays lost annually due to depression and anxiety, costing the global economy nearly $1 trillion, more action is needed to tackle mental health issues at work, the World Health Organization (WHO) and the International Labour Organization (ILO) said on Wednesday. The UN agency have launched two publications which aim to prevent negative work situations and cultures, which also offering mental health protection and support for employees. It's time to focus on the detrimental effect work can have on our mental health, said Tedros Adhanom, Director General at WHO, which has issued global guidelines on the issue. The well being of the individual is reason enough to act, but poor mental health can also have a debilitating impact on a person's performance and productivity. The WHO guidelines contain actions to tackle risk to mental health at work, such as heavy workloads, negative behaviors, and other factors that can create distress. For the first time, the UN Health Agency recommends manager training to build their capacity to prevent stressful work environments and respond to workers' needs. WHO's World Mental Health Report published in June revealed that of 1 billion people estimated to be living with a mental disorder in 2019, 15% of working age adults experienced a mental disorder. The workplace amplifies wider societal issues that negatively affect mental health, including discrimination and inequality, the agency said. Bullying and psychological violence, also known as mobbing, is a key complaint of workplace harassment that has a negative impact on mental health. However, discussing or disclosing mental health remains a taboo in work setting globally. Guidelines also recommend better ways to accommodate the needs of workers with mental health conditions and proposes interventions that support their return to work. In what makes a milestone in the journey towards carbon pollution free aviation, an all electric passenger plane completed its first test flight on Tuesday. The prototype 9 passenger aircraft, Alice, is built by US startup firm Aviation. Alice can carry 9 passengers and 1 or 2 pilots. It can operate flights ranging from 240 to 400 km. The test flight of the all electric aircraft was carried out on Tuesday from Washington's Grand County International Airport. The plane took off at 7:10 a.m. local time on Tuesday and returning safely about 8 minutes later. After the first flight, Aviation Chief Gregory Davis said, "Today we embark on the next era of aviation. We have successfully electrified the skies with the unforgettable first flight of Alice. People now know what affordable, clean, and sustainable aviation looks and sounds like for the first time in a fixed wing, all electric aircraft. This groundbreaking milestone will lead to innovation in sustainable air travel and shape both passenger and cargo travel in the future," Aviation Chief added. Giorgia Meloni is set to become Italy's first woman prime minister and will head the country's first far-right led government since World War II. Her party, Brothers of Italy, won big with various agencies estimating that it won around 25% of the vote. Giorgia Meloni was brought up by a single mother after her father abandoned them after her birth. At 15, she joined a local youth section of the Italian social movement MSI, created by supporters of disgraced fascist dictator Benito Mussolini. In the mid 1990s, the MSI became a part of a new body called the National Alliance and then merged with a mainstream conservative group created by former Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi. In 2012, Meloni and other members of the AN left the group and co-founded Brothers of Italy, named after the opening lines of the national anthem. In an interview, Meloni compared her party to the US Republican Party and Britain's Conservative Party. The party gives importance to patriotism and traditional family values. Meloni's formal entry into politics was at age 21 when she won her first local election. She was also Italy's youngest ever minister at age 31 when she was given the youth portfolio in Berlusconi's 2008 government. The image that came to define Meloni was cemented by a speech that she made in 2019. "I am Georgia. I'm a woman. I'm a mother. I'm Italian. I'm a Christian. And you can take that away from me," she told cheering supporters. Once unthinkable, mobile phones could go dark around Europe this winter if power cuts or energy rationing knocks out parts of mobile networks across the region. Russia's decision to halt gas supplies via Europe's key supply route in the wake of Ukraine conflict has increased the chances of power shortages. In France, the situation is made worse by several nuclear power plants shutting down for maintenance. Telecoms industry officials say they fear a severe winter will put Europe's telecoms infrastructure to the test, forcing companies and governments to try to mitigate the impact. Currently, there are not enough backup systems in many European countries to handle widespread power cuts, four telecoms executives said, raising the prospect of mobile phone outages. European Union countries, including France, Sweden, and Germany, are trying to ensure communications can continue even if power cuts end up exhausting backup batteries installed on the thousands of cellular antennas spread across their territory. Europe has nearly 500,000 telecom towers, and most of them have battery backups that last around 30 minutes to run mobile antennas. Telecom gear makers Nokia and Ericsson are working with mobile operators to mitigate the impact of power shortage, three sources familiar with the matter said. European telecom operators must review their networks to reduce extra power usage and modernize their equipment by using more power efficient radio designs, the four telecom executives said. In the aftermath of Russian annexation of four regions in the Eastern Europe on Friday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky announced he had initiated fast-track membership of the NATO military alliance. Via a video message on the social media platform Telegram, Zelensky said that Kyiv was inclined towards holding talks with the Kremlin, but not leader Vladimir Putin. The message surfaced after Putin conducted an event to proclaim Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia as annexed Russian territory on Friday. In the video, an aggrieved Zelensky said, "We are taking our decisive step by signing Ukraine's application for accelerated accession to NATO." While announcing Ukraine's bid for NATO membership, the Ukrainian president also signed a document in the presence of Prime Minister and the Ukrainian parliament speaker. The update comes to the fore as Russia earlier today formally incorporated the said four regions into Russia. "We will defend our land by all means. This is the liberation mission of the Russian people," Vladimir Putin said in what appears to be the latest thinly veiled reference to nuclear weapons. Russia installed leaders of four regions that pleaded to Putin for annexation this week had all gathered in the Kremlin. Russia will ensure the security of the Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia regions, as well as help restore infrastructure, Putin said, while adding that people of the four regions were becoming Russia's compatriots. US President Joe Biden has warned of substantial deaths after Hurricane Ian brought catastrophe to Florida on Thursday. Rescue teams worked round the clock to pull people from the flood waters and crumbled homes. The US administration has already promised all the support after the deadliest storm to hit Florida made landfall on Thursday. The storm was categorized as an extremely dangerous category 4 hurricane. The numbers are still unclear, but we are hearing early reports of what may be substantial loss of life. President Joe Biden has said, as official estimates suggest that more than 2.6 million homes and businesses have been affected. Sanibel Island in Florida is one of the most affected regions, and Governor Ron DeSantis said the biblical storm has washed away roads and buildings. Even though Hurricane Ian is headed towards Georgia and Carolinas, the water levels are expected to rise in Florida. The Charlotte County, a government spokesperson said 10 people died in the storm, the BBC reported. The rescue and relief operations are underway in several parts of Florida. The storm transformed Florida's southwestern shoreline into a disaster zone as Hurricane Ian swept seawater into waterfront houses before moving towards the Carolinas. Ian is expected to bring potential life-threatening storm surges and possible tornadoes to the region on Friday, the U.S. National Weather Service said, as North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper urged residents to take necessary precautions.